Hey everybody, welcome back to James Draws Everything, and continuing our Drawing Every Country in the World's Flag series today. And we're going to be going back to South America, and we're going to be doing Chile. And so Chile is that long strip of land next to Argentina, and also Easter Island is part of Chile. You ever see that with those giant heads made out of rocks? Yeah, it's a few hundred miles off the coast of Chile. Anyways, Chile, probably one of the most unique kind of border like shapes as far as the country goes. The country of Chile is actually, like, if you moved it to North America, it would stretch from the middle of Canada, almost all the way down to Mexico. So it is a very large country, just very narrow, and that's kind of due to the geography. So it does sit in the Andes mountain, or the Andes mountain range, if I can talk today. And that kind of creates a natural border with the neighboring Argentina. And I mentioned this before, South America, I know they have their issues, but you don't really see a lot of conflicts between states there, and that's because the borders are natural, right? Like a lot of the borders in South America kind of make sense. You know, they're geographic landmarks in between that naturally separate the people. You're not really forcing people that don't have a common culture together. And yeah, Chile, probably like the most unique border in the entire world. It's a very large country, but very, very narrow. And what can you tell us about Chile, James? Well, they achieved independence from Spain in 1810, and I believe they also were kind of fighting off Bolivia and Peru. So they're not really part of that central South American conglomerate. I know some of those states were unified during that independence period in the early 19th century. Chile kind of did its own thing. Kind of bounced back and forth with governments. In the modern time, they were, unfortunately, they had a communist government in his name was Allende, and he was actually overthrown in 1973 by one of my favorites, Augusto Pinochet, and I forget his full name. He has one of those ridiculously long Latin names where it's like 15 words. But and Pinochet, under his regime, they kicked the commies out, which I'm always a fan of, and put some economic reforms in place so that people were not starving to death. And everybody always kind of says, this is actually this is another one of those issues where it's just the version that you're fed is just so watered down and ridiculously cartoonish. But so they'll tell you, oh well, the CIA, they overthrew Chile's democratically elected government and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, actually, that's not really what happened. Was there involvement? Yes, it was the Cold War. But that was going to happen regardless. If you actually know what was happening in Chile under that communist regime, people literally starving to death, and pretty much all industry pulling out of the country because, why the hell are they going to operate there if you're going to completely nationalize all of your industries, and you're not going to make any freaking profits, and you're not going to have anybody who knows what they're doing in control of these things. So I know Ford Motor Company left, the beer company left because their production almost got cut in half almost overnight, when this new government took over, and nobody wants to invest in a communist country or quote unquote socialist. Don't want to offend any commies here or your democratic socialist types, whatever. But so under Pinochet, and he wasn't really an ideological guy. He was a lot of military guys were like that back then, where you didn't really play politics. It's just like, okay, like we need to keep the lights running. Like what do we have to do? So they overthrew Allende, and then the Chilean miracle happened. Unfortunately, though, they did. After Pinochet kind of aged out of power, they quote unquote liberalized to please the international community. And the weird thing is, Chile actually kind of looks to be going back to like socialism, whereas Argentina was always the country that was going bankrupt like every 5 years and needed a bailout for their garbage leftist policies. Now they kind of seem to be switching around. So Argentina elected like a libertarian guy for their president, and it's still kind of early to tell what's going to happen there. And then Chile seems to be going back to socialism. So who knows? You hope for the best for all of them. Just how many times you got to get hit in the head, though? How many times you got to touch the hot stove before you realize this crap doesn't work as far as the socialism stuff? But yeah, maybe Chile has to learn the lesson the hard way again. But hope you enjoyed my little history lesson there. That's Chile. And what about the flag, James? Well, it's actually inspired by the American flag, as you can tell. It's got the red, white, and blue. You know what the red means. The red means the blood spilled to achieve the independence. Blue symbolizes the sky, and the white is for the snow-covered Andes, the Andes Mountains, creating that border in Chile. And the star in the center represents progress and honor. So that's the Chile flag. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next video.